Hi, I'm Kamali and welcome to Newsfeed. Here are some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world.
Do black people feel pain the same way as white people?
Racism in medicine addressed through a viral TikTok. The Australian Prime Minister says there was no slavery in Australia. We show why he is wrong. J.K. Rowling forced to reveal her intimate personal history to justify her opinions to internet trolls. And great green turtles will tell you what's surprising about this colony on the Great Barrier Reef. And top of our newsfeed, racism in medicine. A doctor is getting praised online for raising the racial disparities in the healthcare profession, and she used a TikTok video to do so.
A 2016 study showed that 50% of medical students and residents who were studied thought that black people couldn't feel pain the same way because they had thicker skin or their nerves didn't work the same way.
This viral TikTok video is sparking a conversation on anti-black biases within the medical profession. It's not unusual for gynecologist Jennifer Lincoln to post videos on issues ranging from birth control pills to whether pineapple is good for female reproductive health. They had already made her a viral sensation. But her latest video has been tweeted more than 150,000 times and has been viewed 7.4 million times. It calls out white medical professionals to be more aware of the history of their industry and how to stop implicit biases in patient care. A key assumption is that medicine doesn't have a racist past. In fact, much of the advancement in gynecology was rooted in inhumane and often non-consensual experimentation on black people during slavery. J. Marion Sims is called the father of modern gynecology by the American Medical Association. He performed a series of experiments on black women's genitalia in the mid-1800s without anesthesia. A 1950 biography of Sims dismissed the pain these women endured by suggesting they showed amazing patience and fortitude, a grim stoicism which may have been part of their racial endowment. And as countless studies and statistics from the ongoing coronavirus pandemic have shown, black people are less likely to receive emergency operations. Black people are less likely to be given appropriate pain medication and less likely to be taken seriously by medical professionals. Dr. Lincoln told online news site BuzzFeed that there was nothing new in what she said and questioned whether the video went viral because she is a white woman. Black historians and healthcare professionals are already sharing ways implicit biases disadvantage black and brown communities from getting quality healthcare. And then there's the countless contributions that African Americans have made to medical knowledge that often go unacknowledged. Charles Drew pioneered blood plasma transfusion methods and organized the first large-scale blood bank in the US during World War II. Marilyn Gaston was the first black female director of a US Public Health Service Bureau. She's known for her groundbreaking research in sickle cell anemia. Dr. Lincoln says doctors and patients of all races have a responsibility to root out discrimination and challenge notions that are both harmful and dangerous.
The call to action, doctors, nurses, anybody in the medical field, check your implicit bias. If you see somebody spreading these lies, stop them, but still stop yourself every time you're caring for somebody who has a different skin color than you and check your bias. If you are a woman of color, speak up. If this is happening to you, ask to speak to a different nurse, a different doctor, report them. Speak up.
Okay, let's take a look at some other stories coming out of the anti-racism movement that's sweeping the globe. President Trump has rejected calls to change the names of US military bases, bases named after generals from the Confederate Army who went to war against the US government to allow people to buy, sell and own black people in the southern states. In any other nation, these generals would have been branded traitors, but not in America. Trump has also decided where and when he will hold his first rally of the post-lockdown 2020 campaign. It'll be in Tulsa on the 19th of June, on a day and in a city highly significant for the black American community. Juneteenth is marked as the end of slavery in the US. Tulsa is the city where at least 300 black people were massacred by white mobs in 1921. It is not a coincidence he will be speaking to a baying crowd of his supporters in that city on that day. The US racing competition, NASCAR, say they will ban the Confederate flag from their stadia. The organisation started asking their fans, which are predominantly from southern states, to stop bringing the flag to events in 2015, but that was ignored. It's not clear if the flag will be banned from car parks or from people's clothing. One racing driver said they will quit the sport over this. His name is Ray Ciccarelli. And some other US sports stars, LeBron James, Draymond Green, Alvin Kamara, and people from the entertainment business are launching a program called More Than a Vote. Its main aim is to make sure black people go out and vote in the presidential election in November. But more widely, it wants to work to address voter suppression in the black community. Now, Australia has a bloody, brutal, savage, racist past, but you wouldn't know that if you'd heard the Prime Minister Scott Morrison on the radio a couple of days ago, so we made this to correct the record.
This is how Australia's Prime Minister responded to a question about his country's racist past.
While slave ships continued to travel around the world, when Australia was established, yeah, sure, it was a pretty brutal settlement. My forefather and foremothers were on the first and second fleets. It was a pretty brutal place, but there was no slavery.
Scott Morrison's denial of slavery in the country has led to anger. According to historians, Australia was founded on the wealth of slavery. It helped finance Australia's colonization. In the 19th century, at least 60,000 indigenous people were killed by settlers and colonial forces. Australia's economy was built on agricultural exports, and those farm products were raised on land stolen from indigenous Australians. Colonists also engaged in what was known as blackbirding, the theft of indigenous peoples from Pacific Islands for indentured labor on cane farms. They were forced to work in what was called sugar slavery. Accusations of slavery continued into the early 20th century when indigenous workers were characterized as slaves. Morrison's comments were made as the Black Lives Matter movement has sparked anti-racism protests across the world. The Prime Minister wants protesters to be charged if they breach COVID-19 restrictions by attending rallies this weekend. One Australian protester has so far tested positive. For now, those protests and Scott Morrison's denial of slavery has sparked a renewed debate about the country's cruel and often ignored history.
Okay, to the UK now, where the death of a young girl is going to be re-examined by the police. Take a look at this.
بوليسku wuxuu u dhayn gabadhaada accident u dhimatay way ciyaaraysay ilmihii la ciyaaraysay meesheeda ku dhimatay ilmo qoyn ma lahan ilmo dib soo gaar ma lahayn marka waa tafiraad waa wax xaqeeda la dugsiinayo wax cadeyn booliska ii sheegay iyo wax xaqiiq oo ka haya ma lahan.
She's high school and I say be careful and kiss me. Say bye and I go other way.
The mother of Shukri, Zamzam, turned to local police for help. And within hours of the investigation starting, an announcement was made that there was nothing untoward about what happened. And this was a very big shock to the family. When from their position, they were aware of bullying and other issues at school.
We should be feeling disgusted that you let a little girl that you knew were getting bullied by them girls go to that river. You knew. Teachers were saying that they regret letting her go because they used to walk her home. My sister used to walk her home. My sister used to hang around saying that I'm scared, I'm not going home on my own. My sister used to hold her hand, take her with her friend home. So how are you saying to me that girl was not bullied? No matter what anyone says, she was bullied. I know that, everyone knows that, and no one can change that. Whatever the police say, the coroner, anyone says, she was bullied. She was bullied to death.
Okay, we'll keep spinning around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Thursday. Carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere are at the highest ever recorded on Earth. 417 parts per million were measured at the Mauna Loa Observatory in Hawaii. While the lockdown led to a drop in CO2 emissions, it has not had any effect on the actual amount of the gas all around us. High levels of carbon dioxide in the air will lead to a warmer planet, which will become increasingly hostile to human habitation. Now, see a headline and share the whole article. That's how some people do social media, but Twitter say they are working on encouraging a more informed sharing by giving users a prompt before they share something, asking if they've read it first. Twitter says it's being done to promote informed discussion. Remember, kids, sharing is caring. And love it or hate it or don't even know what it is, a story about Marmite has given as the best headline award as awarded by our editor Louis. See, there is a shortage of the large jars of the yeast extract spread, and that's because brewer's yeast is in short supply. It led to the headline, Yeast of Our Worries. Very good. Now, the author J.K. Rowling has been attacked by some sections of the internet for expressing her opinion. Take a look at this.
This is the tweet that started it all. Author J.K. Rowling is accused of being against transgender people. The creator of Harry Potter responded to an article that described people who menstruate. In response, she was called transphobic. The uproar flared just 6 months after she came under fire for her support for a researcher who was sacked after tweeting that transgender people can't change their biological sex. Rowling posted an additional series of tweets trying to explain her latest viral statement. Daniel Radcliffe, who plays Harry Potter in the films based on her books, reacted by saying transgender women are women. He did that on a blog for the Trevor Project and the LGBTQ suicide prevention charity. Eddie Redmayne, who leads the cast of the Fantastic Beasts movies, echoed Radcliffe's statements. He told Variety, "Trans women are women, trans men are men, and non-binary identities are valid." Emma Watson, who starred as Hermione Granger in the Potter movies, also expressed her support for the transgender community. In a lengthy blog, Rowling responded to the criticism. She says she spoke out about transgender issues in part as a survivor of domestic abuse and sexual assault.
I'm mentioning these things now, not in an attempt to garner sympathy, but out of solidarity with the huge numbers of women who have histories like mine, who've been slurred as bigots for having concerns around single-sex spaces.
She added that while she wants trans women to be safe, she doesn't want to make natal girls and women less safe. But her latest blog post has already been criticised and looks likely to continue the debate.
And now for some good news about a turtle colony in Australia. This was filmed by the BioPixel Ocean Foundation. They said they estimated there were 64,000 turtles living and about to lay eggs on Rain Island. Way more than they had previously assumed. Now, green turtles, which these are an endangered species, so to see such a healthy colony is regarded as excellent news by conservationists. Good for the turtles. That is all from the Newsfeed team. Do reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. You'll find me, as always, on Twitter at Kamali Melbourne. If you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for being with us, and I'll see you again tomorrow.